Welcome back. I'm Jen Potter, host of Networking Now, joined with Jennifer Hobson. Thank you so much for coming back, Jen. And we're going to talk about holistic approach to wellness. So welcome back.
Thank you. I always enjoy talking about holistic approach, though I am finding the word holistic is starting to become, kind of one of the fluff words. It's very similar to when you go to the grocery store and everything says organic and you're like, I call that one out a little bit. So holistic, I think, is becoming a little trendy. So you have to be aware of where you're going for your information. When you're talking about a holistic approach to your health and wellness, when I think about a holistic approach, what I think is mind, body, and grace. And what I mean by grace is we have to be willing to forgive ourselves for things that we may have done to our body in the past, to our mind in the past, things that we've done that weren't perfection. And we have to be willing to forgive ourselves and let ourselves go if we really want to feel the best. You can fuel your body with really good food. You can start in personal development, but if you haven't forgiven yourself for things that you've done in the past, you're still going to keep hitting that wall of truly feeling whole, holistic wellness.
I really like that. And I love that you added grace to that. And I mean, it's one of my favorite words to begin with, so much so I named a kid after that word. It's funny because it's to always remind yourself to give yourself grace. And I love that you said that because we go through all of these different things. You're like, oh, I'm gonna eat like crap today so I can eat better tomorrow. And I feel like that's the result of never getting to that point where we actually said, you know what, this is what we did and this is what we're going to do, like moderation when it comes to food or exercise or whatever that may look like. And it looks different for everybody else. But I love that your twist is slightly different. And I love that you also use the analogy like organic. I mean, it only has to be a certain percentage to be organic. So, I mean, are we really even doing it? So, adding that extra step of forgiveness, I think is really beautiful. And it really, while you were saying it, it just really made me think and just say, wow, have I forgiven myself for some of the things in the past? And it really just like, you just gave me like this aha moment just then. It was a really awesome feeling in that moment. And so what are some examples of something that maybe you have done in the past and you have forgiven yourself in order to get to that next level?
I mean, we could go down my nitty-gritty path, but that's another conversation. I think it's one of those things when even in your adolescence, right, you make immature decisions, and that's actually the part of growing up. You make immature decisions so that you can learn from them and you can grow from them and you can learn, you know what, that wasn't great for me, and next time I'll make a different decision. I think as a coach and as a support mentor when it comes to health and wellness, is I try to dig deeper even with myself and with my clients. And a lot of people, when they're on a wellness journey, they start food journaling, right? And I really think your health and wellness is so much more than writing down the food that you've eaten today. And it's just like in life, it's so much more than what you've done in this moment and today. But you have to be willing to say, I can't change literally anything I've even said in the last 30 seconds. I can't change that. So I have to accept that has happened. And I can either choose to move forward or I can choose to replay those negative moments over and over and over again. And that's where I choose to live versus living in the present. And so many people do that and they become that identity, especially with their health and wellness. Well, I've always been overweight. That's just who I am. I have a bad habit of talking down to myself. That's just who I am. And really, health and wellness journey needs to be so much more than what you have done and just writing down what you've eaten for the day.
I mean, that in itself is so true too, right? So one of the biggest things that I focus on is being in the present. Everything I do has to be in the present. When somebody, apologizes for something, I'm like, why are you apologizing? It's over. It's done with. There's nothing I can do about it. I used to get so worked up about so many things that were external. And then I would just stop and ask myself, why am I getting worked up? I can choose to change how I'm going to interact moving forward. Or just like you said, I can continue to wallow in any of that self-pity. But wallowing doesn't do us anything. It just makes us feel even worse. But if you can say, okay, I'm going to change my strategy, therefore I'm going to change. And it's funny how like all the different things that we talked about today just kind of, they snowballed all into the same thing, because like just thinking about that made me think of imposter syndrome in our thought process and how we're going to deal with that, and that wallowing in self-pity. So it's amazing how, like, and I know it was kind of set up a little bit like this way as well, but like just really sitting and reflecting and taking the time to just acknowledge where you are and where you want to be, because where we were, we have no control over it, right? Even at the beginning of our conversation, anything that happened at the beginning of the show, we have no control over it. It's already over and done with. And I love that. Like, I love when other people acknowledge that, because they're like, no, this happened today. I'm like, no, that happened before, but now we're going to change how we're going to do the rest of the day. Or when somebody says, I think that this is important for people to think about, I'm having a bad day. Are you though? You might be having a series of bad moments, but was your day really that terrible? And when you can change your perspective with those little tiny things, oh, I had a bad few moments, I had a bad hour. You didn't fully have a bad day. I mean, I had a rough hour this morning. My day was fantastic. Like, overall, it was a great day. And it's still continuing to be a great day because it's still early. And just being able to really think about those things as, we're kind of going through our lives, like, and especially that holistic side of it, and that, that pure version. And so when you hear the word holistic and you think of, like, you're thinking about food, or you're thinking about medicine, or whatever that may mean, what is another thought process that you have when you think of the word holistic?
Fueling your body with as many whole foods as possible. That's really what I think of when I'm thinking holistically, is how can I take care of the one body that we've all been given at the most basic form. And that, again, it goes to progress, not perfection. But how many times can I choose something that comes in its raw form, or, very little processing, like you cooked a sweet potato, right? That's very low processed food. So how many times can I fuel my body with nutrient dense whole foods over the alternative?
I really like that. And because, like, it's funny, because I think of the food side, I think of the holistic medicine side, and just like everything that just kind of encompasses it. And I never really thought about this until I got older. Was, I would always hear people say your body is a temple. And I'd be like, yeah, whatever that means, right? And it didn't really dawn on me till I got older, and I wasn't as invincible as I used to be. And I got diagnosed with a heart condition and all of those things, that I really started realizing, right? Wow, my body really is a temple, right? I need to really pay attention to the things that go inside my body. I need to pay attention to the things that make me feel good. Like today, when I came home, I was starving. And the first thing I want, like, I'm like, I want a bag of chips. I don't need a bag of chips, but I wanted it because I was so hungry. And instead, I chopped up a bunch of vegetables and a bunch of chicken, and, with my balsamic dressing. And I'm like, this is what I'm going to have. And when I was done eating, I was like, wow, I feel fantastic. But if I ate the bag of chips first, I probably would have felt awful. I had 4 or 5 chips because I wanted to cure that craving. But if I ate the chips first, I would have ate the whole bag, because I changed that thought process. I was able to have what I wanted, but when I was done eating, I felt really good, and I felt hydrated, and I felt like I got nutrition. So I think it's really great that, that thought process of saying, the more stuff that we fuel into our body, we're not as sick as often. We don't need as much medication. We're not going to the doctors as much. I mean, that is as real as it gets. I eat super healthy all the time. Sometimes it's not a choice. But I mean, if it wasn't, I mean, it still is. And I love the fact that, taking care of your body and all of that, it's just so important. So with all of this stuff being said, I'm not sure if there's anything else that you want to add to this, but then also tell everybody how they can get a hold of you after the show.
Well, what I love that you mentioned, right? You chose the more whole food option, but you curbed your craving with some chips. And that goes to the progress, not perfection. I'm never telling you, never eat a salty potato chip ever again in your life, but maybe not as a meal, right?
Right.
Option. So, no, one of the things that, we do at Shine Up Coaching is we work with people on creating habits. You have the personal one-on-one support, but the community support with groups. And exactly what you were saying, what you did is sustainable. We create a sustainable lifestyle focused on holistic living, and you become the person you need to be to reach whatever goal, right? You have to become that person, because that's that person that reached the goal, not the old person. there's a reason they didn't reach that goal. They're not that person yet. But anyone can always have a conversation with me. You can email me at jenniferhobsonbp@gmail, or one of my programs might be the right fit for you, and you can go to shineupcoaching.com, and you can always find us on social, Shine Up Coaching.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jennifer, for joining us today. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day. Make sure you check out Shine Up Coaching. Check out Jennifer Hobson on social media. She is amazing to follow. And I'm not just saying that because we're friends. She really is doing amazing things, connects with really amazing people as well. And I am Jen Potter. I am the host of Networking Now, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great day.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.